I'm Sandy McLeod, Executive Director of MusicComp. I'm thrilled to see all of you here tonight, and we know that there will be many folks who watch this program at their cable TV station or on the DVD, so we welcome them to join us in the format that they get to see the program. We've had a wonderful day of rehearsals. We'll introduce the musicians at intermission. They're all listed in your program. We'll have kind of a revolving door group of musicians. We have 14 different musicians playing with us this evening, and we're thankful to all of them for the educational and respectful dialogue that they carried on today with the students. There are several sponsors to thank. The one I'd like to thank the most is MusicFirst. MusicFirst is a new company that supports students with educational software, supports their teachers, and they're focused on cloud computing software. We're very thrilled to be partnering with them and to have their support. There are a number of other sponsors listed throughout the program. We're thankful to all those who donated this evening for our dinner, and those sponsors who continue to support us year after year, as well as you, the individual donors who continue to help our program. Our first announcer tonight is Annie Bellevue. Did I say that right? No. Tell me again. Bellevue, okay. And then she'll be followed by David Fisher. They'll take turns introducing the pieces for you.
Our first piece is Nana Lo, written by Brianna Grimm, a senior at North Country Union High School. Here's her description. There is fog and a great silence. At first you are unsure which side prevailed. The smoke begins to scatter, your vision begins to clear, and you see that yours is the flag that is still standing. You have won. You are victorious. The trumpet begins this piece with a soft fanfare, broadening as more instruments are added. A key change offers a slower melody that grows as the piece continues. Changing back to the initial key offers the same victorious melody for the close of the piece. John Gaston, 8th graders from Barnett School, teamed up to write The Journey. They tell us, in our piece, we are trying to represent a space mission. In the beginning of the piece, they are entering the spaceship. Then the countdown begins and they take off. Then there is a small celebration, which is followed by free floating in space.
So my rehearsal, I wrote a piece for two trumpets, and it just happens that the two trumpets that were playing it are my band teacher and my trumpet teacher. So it was a nice experience to hear them play it, and it's amazing how different it is from the computer to live performance, because everything gets brought out and it sounds real, and it's amazing when you think that you actually wrote that.
What do you think of that?
I like that, yeah. Crescendoed.
Getting the tempo more?
Yeah, that's exactly where I want it, yeah.
Okay. So where was that again? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tough having your two teachers be your players.
Yeah.
Poor kid.
Or fun. You could
Yeah.
That's right. You can just twist it in there. And say,
listen to mine. Remember how you told me to? Was this based on anything, or did you just write it?
I just wrote it.
yeah. Well, I mean, you can tell he's a trumpet player. So, that sort of nice fanfare quality to it.
Yeah, it's very nicely written.
Can we do the second half of this, like maybe 18?
Yep.
Is that okay with you?
Yeah, sure.
Air composer?
And for and.
Sure.
It's the second piece I've ever written. The first one was in the previous one or 2 springs ago, I think. And composition, I never really thought I'd get into it. It was just something that my band teacher brought up to me, and he showed it to the whole class, and a couple people caught on, and I was one of them. And it's really a cool experience to be in, and it makes your playing better. It makes you more mindful about any kind of music you listen to, whether it's classical or rock or pop or whatever it is. You hear different stuff, and it really helps you appreciate music.
Duet for Trumpet is a piece with a regal feel, written for 2 trumpets. It's the second composition for Colin Fennelly, a trumpet player and 9th grader from Harvard Union High School.
I am Nathan Watts. I'm a senior at Essex High School. What composing means to me is it's a means of sort of recording and preserving and showing emotions or kind of abstract ideas to people, because it's to me it's like a photograph is a way of preserving a scene, and music is a way of preserving a specific emotional state. And I just really like being able to take my really vague ideas about what I'm feeling at a specific moment and being able to show it to other people in a way that anyone will understand.
How has music comp affected that? Is it giving you opportunities you might have or not have if you had music comp? What does it mean to you to be a part of music comp or a member of music comp?
I think it's definitely given me a lot of opportunities I wouldn't have otherwise, because it's a lot of things that it's things from experts that they've gone through and they've done it themselves before. They've written music themselves before, so they know where the common pitfalls are, so they can help us out and avoid them, so that we don't have to learn it by trial and error ourselves, which can be kind of painful sometimes when you're working on something and it's just not sounding right. More often than not, they've been in the same position and they can help you out of it. So it's a pretty amazing experience. One of the things that I failed to account for when I was writing my piece was that the singers need to breathe sometimes. So I had to go in and give them, especially the tenor, I had to go in and give them some points where they could take a little break and breathe.
Nathan Watts, a senior from Essex High School, shares his barbershop piece with us, Red Sky at Night. The composition describes watching the sunset with the one you love, but the lyrics also represent accomplishment. The day is the time to do work, so at night you can do what you love and be with whom you love.
I've got a beautiful view of the sunset from under a tree. I see it lighting up clouds as they jump on my head, bright as can be. I know a blue sky day is coming my way. Red sky at night is a lover's delight. I've got a beautiful places to sit while the light fades away. I see your strawberry lips and a hint of a smile winking my way. I know a blue sky day is a coming to stay. Red sky at night is a lover's delight. When the night is through, I still love you. I swear that it's true. There's nothing I'd rather do. 'Cause at the end of the day, I've never felt so alive as when we're sitting here waiting for the night to arrive. And when the sun has gone down and the stars wake, we'll watch them instead, reflecting off of your eyes and into my heart, make me drop dead. I know a blue-eyed girl is looking my way. Red sky at night is a lover's delight. I know a blue sky day coming to stay. I know a blue sky day is coming my way. Blue sky day, blue sky day is coming to stay. White girl is a wind in my way.
school in Putney brings us Garrett Wheel, a sixth grader. He's written March of the Elephants. He says, the piece opens with a repeating motive for tuba and drums. The trombone has a solo at the end. My friends and I brainstormed a title for this big, lumbering piece and came up with a name that expresses the sound of the tuba, the lead instrument.
Composing for me it's a way of expressing myself that is not verbal, and it's not like through writing. It's, for me, music cuts through a lot of the misinterpretation that can be caused by speech and writing. The mentoring process was extremely helpful for me because the mentors know so much about music, and they can tell you so much about how to improve as clarifying your ideas in the music. The piece I wrote is called Persistence. It's about recovering from some hardship and then facing it again and conquering it. And it involves a lot of chords that you don't hear very often. I learned that there are some spots that are pretty hard to play. It's the performers interpreted it differently than I had written it, but I really liked the interpretation and how he had changed some things but left other things alone, and it was quite interesting to see that.
Persistence is a piano solo written by Dalen Rosa, an 8th grader from Barnet School. This piece is, like the title suggests, an attempted description of persistence. In the beginning, something hits you, it knocks you down, and rubs your face in the cement, but you have to get up. Here persistence takes shape in this work.
Max Afer, a senior from George Mason High School in Fairfax, Virginia, joined us via Skype earlier today for the rehearsal of his work, The Possessed Piano. The piece switches between more complex and lively sections and sparsely written wandering interlude.
I'm Anna Halliday, and I'm in 7th grade. I definitely think it helped to have the view of a professional composer, and it made the composing process a lot easier. And they encouraged me to make changes, but they also would say it's fine to stick with it, and they always said it was my choice. I think that sounded really good.
Okay, and then what about the last note? It's kind of a choice. I know it doesn't seem like it should end on that note. I mean, it works in the chord, but it just as far as the...
Yeah, I guess it probably makes sense. What would that? Is that a C?
Yeah.
No, what do they end up playing?
You have a C major chord, and you have her playing the third.
Yeah. Which would be what, a B?
It's an E.
No,
Oh,
but she.
Right, in her transposition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess it would make more sense to play G. I guess that makes more sense. Yeah. How was that? Where it switches back to 4/4, right? I think the piano has a C sharp, and I think you have a G sharp. Yeah. Maybe try accenting the pickup into the next section, and then maybe the first note of the 4/4.
And do you want them connected? Do you want bum bum or?
Yeah, just kind of leading into the next section.
So no space, but a little.
Yeah.
Along those lines, I wonder if the whole, like, 30 bars before that, in bar 41, there isn't really a quiet section, and like you have forte and mezzo forte.
Yeah.
I think that gives us the temptation to exaggerate and make the mezzo forte higher, which might be a nice thing.
Yeah.
The whole section, the first a little bit less, and
Yeah.
some time. And then when it comes back there, it's stronger.
Yeah.
French Horn Duet was written by Anna Holliday, a 7th grader from Edmonds Middle School. French Horn Duet starts in C major and plays this theme, which then repeats in A major. The next section is in C Mixolydian, which reflects the mood of that section, almost major, but not quite. Other sections include the part in minor, and I return to the theme in C major at the end. sixth grader from the grammar school, describes her vocal and piano work, Fly. I started with a common chord progression in the key of C, as in Magic Changes from Greece, and then I put my own spin on it and added lyrics. This song is about freedom, and considering the timing of Nelson Mandela's passing, I decided to tribute this song to him and how he won his freedom for himself and so many others.
I've climbed the highest mountain, I swam the deepest sea. The winds will take me to a place where I can be free. Ooh, take me away to a place where I can stay, to a place to stay, to a place to fly through the air like a bird on the wind, to look down below. Now it's time to go. Look down below, it's time to go. I'm flying free.
I'm Sagelyn Green. I'm from North Country, up in Newport. I'm a junior. This kind of process really helped me learn like how to not be scared to just ask questions. Because when I first started composing, I was always scared to, ask for help from anybody. And this is my second year doing this, it's helped me so much. If I need something, I'm not scared to ask for it at all now. So it's really helped me with that. It's a really amazing opportunity to have to sit down and actually talk with the people who are going to be playing your piece. And it's amazing to, have mentors who offer so much advice on, if you don't know something, instead of just having to ask one person and one teacher who may not offer the right opinions for you, you can go and ask another one. And if they don't give you the right kind of advice you want, you can go ask someone else too. And that's amazing to be able to do.
Our January Student Composer Showcase with Vermont Public Radio Classical features our next composer, Sagelyn Green, who is a junior at North Country Union High School. Jihad is an Arabic word meaning struggle. The term jihad bisif together translates to struggle by the sword. It refers to a religious journey that many Muslims complete, fighting inner and outer struggles.
I've worked with the music comm mentoring before, and I really enjoy it. Like, it is helpful to have sort of an expert in the instrument be able to talk to you, be able to give you advice on that specific instrument. Sometimes I will get advice and I won't take it, but often it's really helpful, and I adjust my piece according to the advice that I get.
So overall, what does composing mean to each of you?
Well, I've been composing, in a sense, since I was like 5 years old, so it's nice to get it into a structured program and be able to have the public hear it, because that doesn't happen for everyone, and that's a great thing. It's nice to be on the other side, because I've been a performer as well, and it's nice to be sort of out of the center of attention and off stage, but still sharing music with people.
Echo's Lament was written by Annie Beliveau, a senior at Essex High School. This piece for four voices sets to music a passage from the play Cynthia Revels, written around the year 1600 by Vin Johnson. The passage shows Echo's reaction to Narcissus' death from her point of view. The piece uses chant influences and word painting, as well as traditional harmony, to illustrate the mournful words. The full text is printed in your program.
Invite three composer mentors who are also former students in our project to speak with you for a moment.
Hello everyone, my name is Zach Sheets. I'm currently a composition mentor with MusicComp, the Vermont MIDI project. I'm originally from Norwich, Vermont, and I got my first training with the program here. I was involved in 13 Opus events between 4 and 18 or so. Some of you guys are going after my record. Good luck. I did my undergraduate in music and French literature at Harvard University, and I'm currently working towards my graduate degree in flute performance and composition at the Eastman School of Music in Rochester, New York.
Hello, my name's Andy Gagnon. I was a student for, I think, 3 years in high school, and then continued to get to work with this fabulous program as a music education student at the University of Vermont. And now I am involved as a performer, as you saw earlier, as well as a mentor. And my measly 3 years next to this. But yeah, it's really, if you haven't already realized this, it is a phenomenal thing that we have going on here. And Matt is going to tell you a little bit more about that.
Hi, my name's Matt Pod, and though I don't have 13 opuses under my belt, I was in Opus 1, so. Now I'm on the board of directors for Music Comp, as well as one of the composer mentors and a performer for them. And Opus 1 really set my course as a musician and as a composer. And after Opus 1, I did Opus 2 and Opus 3 and so on until I graduated high school, where I went on to be a composition major in college. And then I went to get my master's degree in jazz composition, and now ended up in New York City as a freelance composer, arranger, and pianist. If this path sounds frightening to you, don't worry, we're not trying to make our kids into professional composers, although some of them might be. But it's really so much more than that, which is the beauty of it. And actually, it's not our goal at all to make professional composers, but just to give the kids the experience of composing. And it reminds me of something one of my professors told me in college, which is, whether you like it or not, you're a composer now. And he said this to me when I was trying to decide if I could keep up my composition studies and my piano studies, and I was struggling with the time commitment, and he said, well, it doesn't really matter because you're a composer now. And I've been thinking about that ever since, about what that means. And it's a lot, it goes much farther than this concert hall and what we hear as the beautiful pieces that we're hearing. It's incredible the work these kids are doing, especially when you see them stand up and you hear this incredible piece and the kid's this tall. But what they're going to take out of this is not just how to write music, but how to be in charge of their environment and how to create solutions and how to create the opportunities for themselves rather than simply observing them. And I think that's what it means to be a composer now. For me, it's not about my career, it's not going to be about theirs either. It's about what they take into life as a human being and how they relate to other people and the way they're interacting with the professional musicians during rehearsals. It's all incredible. And I think it's all about being a composer now, whether they ever write another piece of music again. They've had this experience of leadership and creating something and being in charge of that. And I think that goes a long way beyond the concert hall. So it's incredible that this program exists, and that there are so many students, so many schools involved. And it's important for it to not just exist, but for it to thrive. And there are a lot of things that go into that, including the hard work of the musicians, your support as music teachers and parents, and also the financial support we need to put on concerts in a beautiful space like this and with this quality of musicians. So if you are able to, and think about what this experience means for your community and your kids, and you can give to our donation box, we can really use the money to put on more music like this and continue to let our program expand across the country and even throughout the world. So I'll be at the donation box during intermission. We'd love to see you there. Thank you so much.
My name is David Fisher. I'm a homeschooler. I'm a senior, and I play cello. Composition has become an increasingly large part of my life, sort of emotionally and also like in a time commitment sort of way over the past 2 years. I remember when it first started, I was working with, I had this like big grandeur idea that I was going to write a full symphonic piece that was going to be like, this big thing, and, everyone was going to cheer for me, I was going to bow, and it was going to be awesome. But, that piece got about a minute into it and died off, and it's still sitting in my computer somewhere. Since then, I met Eric Nielsen, who's my composition mentor, my main composition mentor, and he's taught me so much about sort of setting realistic goals and getting pieces performed and being able to articulate your musical ideas and your emotional ideas through music, well.
And of course, that's all thanks to this program, Music Comp, which is it's amazing. And again, the reason I'm here today, one of the main things that they do every year is they have 2 various Opus projects, and it's such an amazing experience to be able to hear your piece performed in real life. It's so different than anything that you hear on the computer. It's so different than just anything else in the world, because suddenly the emotional ideas that you had put into paper are being sort of touched upon, and they're being played upon by other people who have their own emotional ideas, who have their own take on the music. And to sort of hear that process in real life is awe-inspiring to me.
David Fisher, a homeschooled student from Burlington, offers his first vocal composition, The Burning City. He tells us, "The ideas of birth and rebirth to fake and real life have been around for centuries. These themes are explored further in this choral piece for soprano, alto, tenor, and bass. Using original poetry, it tells the story of a burning city whose inhabitants die in the fire. Listen to more of the story." Nick Hokai, another George Mason High School senior, joined us earlier today for his rehearsal. We're pleased to continue our collaboration with this international baccalaureate school in Virginia. He writes, "My biggest inspirations for my first official composition, Neuen, were Mozart's piano sonatas. I intended the A theme to be quick and lively, and the B to be light and bouncy. I developed the title Neuen when I had to save the file. While the rest of the class called their work Untitled, I called mine New. I decided New was a bland title, and wrote it backwards after. That is the tale of how Neuen got its name."
is Alex. I go to Champlain Elementary School, and I'm in 5th grade. For me, composing and playing music just helps me focus in school, sports, and like everything. It just increases my focus level because I have to think about articulations, dynamics, and just the notes all at once.
Alex Wick, a 5th grader at Champlain Elementary in Burlington, created a Bugatti in Paris. He writes, "This jazzy tune is about a Bugatti Veyron EB 16.1, the fastest and one of the most expensive cars in the world, with a price of $1.8 million and reaching 267.856 miles per hour in Paris, France. This song starts out slow and steady, like starting up the engine, and the music suddenly, very suddenly, changes into a fast section. Hear what comes next."
I'm Adele. I'm a senior at North Country in Newport. My primary instrument is violin. I've been composing for about 3 years, and this is my 4th Opus concert. I wrote the brass quartet in G minor. Composing has helped me get better at communicating about music because I have to be able to explain what I did and why I did it.
Sort of marked with articulation markings, and sometimes they're not, you know? So it's hard for us to be precise, and when you're writing music, most of the time as a composer, you're not in the room when people are playing your music, so you can never be too clear with what you really want, whether it's with a marking or a word, something that tells us what to do with it. You know?
So for instance, here, do you want this still staccato? Put it there or not?
Not so much.
So then, if it's marked staccato, you want a staccato. If it's not marked, then don't.
Yeah, like separated, but not like especially sharp.
All right. So why don't you?
I move on the end of it.
Okay. With articulation in the scherzando section, basically when I marked staccato, I wanted it especially short, and then if nothing's marked, I wanted it like separated, but not necessarily super short. If that makes sense.
So like at C, I have my 8th notes have legato markings, but then I have nothing over the dotted 8 16ths, the next measure. Do you want all that long, or do you want those less long than the legato 8th note long?
Maybe a little less long.
A little less?
A little more
normally,
separation.
I mean, maybe it's just me, I would separate those a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the beginning of the scherzando, do you want that to continue piano from the cadence right before that?
Yeah.
That's what we'll do.
Nice catch. Was
Can
the
we do
tempo?
this- Can we do B to?
Yeah. Is tempo okay?
Yeah, the tempo was good.
Adele Woodmansey, a senior at North Country Union High School, composed a brass quartet in G minor. This is a brass quartet in G minor with 2 trumpets, horn, and trombone. It begins with a slower, sustained section and then moves into a fast, playful section. It ends with a slightly more complex version of the first theme. is a junior at Burlington High School. This is her first vocal work titled The Old Man of the Sea. The lyrics are to a poem by James Whitcomb Riley. The poem sounds light at first, but the words give it a deeper and darker meaning. It sounded like a sea shanty when read, so that is the feeling the music tries to evoke. The overall feeling of the piece can be described as joyful and jaunty. Enjoy.
Crowned with the crown of your nose. syllables things free, and the red guilt flushes your cheek and brow. I'm the old man of the sea. I'm the old man of the sea. Oh, oh, so lift up a song with me as I sit on the throne of your shoulders alone. I'm the old man of the sea. I am your false dreams of success and your mythical future fame. Your lifelong lies and your soul's distress and your slowly dying shame. And the chattering half of your latest laugh and your tongue's last perfidy. Your doom, and your epitaph. I'm the old man of the sea. I'm the old man of the sea. Oh, ho! So lift up a song with me as I sit on the throne of your shoulders alone. I'm the old man of the sea.
Molly Durling, an 8th grader, shares stars for glockenspiel, xylophone, and piano. The opening motif is shared and repeats 3 times. The piano fills the chords. I named it Stars because when I first heard what I wrote for the glockenspiel, that sounded like twinkling stars.
Here's what Jonna Saltzman, a senior at North Country Union High School, tells us about her work, Upon a Golden Morning Tide. Imagine you've just woken up. The air is clean and crisp, and a little ways away a cheery bird is announcing the hint of the soon coming sunrise. The aurora begins and the air seems to have a tint of golden sunshine. The warmth from the young sun touches your face. The day has begun.
My name is Oscar. I go to Edmonds Middle School in Burlington, Vermont, and I'm in 8th grade. I play the alto saxophone in my school band, and from composing it makes me look at the music that I play in a different way. I understand it more, and I realize what the composer was maybe thinking when they did that a certain thing in the piece.
Would someone like to tell us about writing their piece, and did the musicians help
Sure.
you discover anything new about your piece during rehearsal? Oscar, you want to start us off?
Okay, yeah, there was at one point during my piece, there was kind of, there was a little melody, and then something else happened, and then that same melody kind of repeated itself, but I had different articulations for both, for either repeat, for one of them, and then the other one was a different articulation. And so they kind of explained that by making them the same articulation, it matched well, and it kind of made the piece sound kind of more together, I guess.
Now, my question too is, with piano all the way through there, when you have the melody, you want to play it out just a little more? Or, I mean, I kept trying to keep it as soft as I could.
Well, like, I kind of wanted that to be, I wanted to kind of get quieter as it goes down, but that was kind of hard to do, because I wanted to be able to actually hear it at the end if I started from mezzo forte. So I guess play it out with the mezzo piano all the way through, I guess.
Can maybe have each one start a little bit louder and each one crescendo?
Yeah, I guess so. That makes sense as well. To kind of play a little bit louder than mezzo piano and then crescendo down for like everyone. It's hard to, does that make any sense at all?
Give us some.
Oh, 25, I'm sorry. I just didn't know it, if you guys understood what I was saying. Yeah, 25 is kind of like the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, like that. If you play where you kind of start like a little bit louder than mezzo piano, and then you kind of crescendo down to it at the bottom, at the end of the measure.
Can I ask you a clarifying question?
Sure.
In your vision of the piece, do you have the trumpet playing at a
Louder?
Your trumpet playing mezzo forte to mezzo piano, and then is your vision that the second trumpet is going to play a little bit quieter than that, and then the horn is a little bit quieter
but that would be
than that?
even too quiet at the end, wouldn't it?
But because you have people here and they're musicians, so I think if you communicate that, it is a hard thing to write out, but I think if you explain that to them, that they'll be able to do that.
Right, yeah, I want to kind of like, through all the instruments, the first one, so trumpet 1 plays the loudest, and then the tuba at the end would play the quietest, I guess. And then it's like a crescendo through like multiple instruments, I guess.
A decrescendo.
Decrescendo, right?
Well, yeah, decrescendo, that's what I meant.
Bouncy Man is a new work by Oscar Felton from Edmonds Middle School. He tells us, my piece is meant to gradually add all the instruments in the first section, then break into the main parts later. I feel that this piece is very bouncy and random, so I named the piece Bouncy Man.
My name is Sam. I go to Edmonds Middle School in Burlington, Vermont, and I am in 6th grade. When you hear your piece up there, it's amazing to hear, because when you're listening through the piece on a computer, it sounds way better in concert, and I guess you don't really expect it to sound that good. You don't really hear the different effects with the different, I guess, loudness level, I guess, when you listen to it on the computer, but you can really hear that when you hear them actually performing. And it made me change some dynamics and add in crescendos and yeah.
Maybe crescendo through here a little bit?
Yeah, maybe a crescendo or I'm not sure. From piano to forte on trombone, when you have that piano to the forte.
He's looking at the fourth measure from the end.
Fourth
Do you have
measure
the
from the
whole
end.
note?
From piano to forte, maybe like crescendo. Where it's written, but like have crescendo up to the forte.
I can do that. Do you want to try listening to it one more time
Yeah.
from the top?
Sure.
Is
Sure.
that all right for you guys?
Run through it.
Yeah.
Okay. And you like the speed that we're going?
Yeah, I like that speed.
Works.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Sammy Best, a 6th grader at Edmonds Middle School, shares his work Morning Fanfare. He writes, "It is a happy, lively piece with one basic tune that is repeated with different notes and rhythms. Serenata is our final work for this evening. It was written by Ethan Duncan, an independent study student who is a 7th grader at Williston Central School. Serenata is meant to sound like a Spanish song. The original instrumentation, acoustic guitar, marimba, 2 trumpets, and the piano, was changed to meet the instruments available for Opus 27.
we're still here.